We are here with Jackson Palmer, creator of Dogecoin at CoinSummit. Quite an honor. Very much wow. So amazed.
Such interview.
Yeah. So, Dogecoin's great. I love Dogecoin because I think back to when I first got into Bitcoin. I first heard about Bitcoin in 2009, and I got really into it in 2010.
Yep.
And the community was amazing. There was this movement, and
There's something in the air.
Yeah, exactly. And the forums weren't this giant, troll fest and this, and everybody was working together and open sourcing. And I see that in Dogecoin. So when I saw Dogecoin, I got really excited. This is like the old, the old days of Bitcoin. This is a lot of fun. I could really get behind this.
Yeah.
And one of I'm kind of wondering, like, why do you think Dogecoin is doing so well? How do we have such a fun-loving, movement behind this? Dogecoin doesn't get stuck on talking about regulation and drugs and terrorists. And,
Yeah, look, I think what Dogecoin's done is really make what is usually a very daunting and daunting thing to get into for many people. Cryptocurrency has this nasty thing attached to it, being just hackers in basements, ordering drugs online, and the media unfortunately represented in that way up until today. So I think what Dogecoin did is it puts that that happy-go-lucky sheep face on there, and it makes it more relatable. It's something that people are used to and have been seeing and potentially sharing with their own friends via social media. So. And I think it's a nice gateway into cryptocurrency. So once they get in and they realize what Dogecoin is, they read about it, then they it's only one step over to the cryptocurrency page on Wikipedia, and they start learning, and then it's like, wow, well, Bitcoin isn't too bad. So I think it's very interesting. Although a large majority of people that get into Dogecoin have never been into crypto before, but they quickly also start getting into the crypto scene and Bitcoin once they've started using Dogecoin.
Right. No, for sure. And the demographics are quite different. We're looking at a much younger audience and a lot more women in Dogecoin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's probably more women in Dogecoin than there is women in Bitcoin, despite Bitcoin being so much larger even.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen this at all the meetups that we've run, different events, and just online community as well. I think it's a different crowd, and I think it's a younger, more tech-savvy crowd. Well, I shouldn't say more tech-savvy, but I think it's, Bitcoin and its derivatives, Litecoin and other altcoins have been a very developer-centric community, right? So we really get the technology. I think this is bridging the gap and bringing it into these people that have grown up on Facebook, grown up on Twitter, and really they don't know yet that they need cryptocurrency.
Right. And to them, this isn't weird.
It's not, yeah.
You try to explain to someone my age or older, and you say, it's this virtual currency that, there's this shared ledger and you can't counterfeit it, and they're like, it's weird. But for this younger generation, they understand, Zynga credits and
Exactly.
Warcraft gold and all this. They go, oh, so it's like Warcraft gold. Like, yeah, okay, it's
exactly.
money.
Yeah, and that's it. It's internet money. And I think, especially when you have, it's very hard to understand cryptocurrency. It's not an easy topic. We understand it, but if you've ever tried explaining it to your friends and family, it's not easy to explain in a nutshell. So I think this kind of removes that away and makes it a lot more approachable. Lowers the barriers to entry because it's accessible by the tipping community that's built around it. And then, as I said, it's a gateway for people to get in, and then they start learning more. They don't just get bombarded with all this crypto jargon.
Right. I think one of the hardest things for any currency or any social network or anything like that to gain is just that user base. Like maybe you and I can make a better Facebook, but if no one uses it, it doesn't matter. And it's the same with altcoins, or anything.
It's the same with any currency, really. Like a currency is what people, perceive to be a store of value and are willing to accept.
Right. And it looks like Dogecoin's really getting that critical mass. Do you think it's possible that we could see Dogecoin possibly surpass Bitcoin, and then do you think the infrastructure would shift, because technically it's not that difficult of a change for a lot?
Well, look, I don't. Dogecoin's never really gone out to compete with Bitcoin.
Right.
I think.
Really, I'm not saying it's intentional.
Yeah.
I'm just saying an unintended side effect.
I think Dogecoin has pretty much cemented itself as the number one altcoin, right? And I think really the analogy I use when I speak to a lot of people is that Dogecoin, if Bitcoin is the $100 notes you're walking around with, or you're keeping under your pillow, Dogecoin is kind of like the change that you get home every day and you put it in a jar.
Right.
And after a certain amount of time, or it's the tip jar, right? And literally, and after a certain amount of time, you say, well, you know what? I'm able to go and buy a beer, or I'm able to buy a coffee with the tips that people are giving me.
Right.
That's what Dogecoin is. So we're very much microtransaction focused, which is something that Bitcoin doesn't really tackle due to the transaction fee that's applied to Bitcoin as well. So it's when you get down to very small payments, it becomes more expensive with Bitcoin.
Right.
And so with Dogecoin, it's like 1/100th of a penny is the transaction fee. So it's very different. And there's a big developer community around these social media services like the Doge tip bot on Reddit, which really, they don't make a user sign up. If you're a Reddit user, you can start using and accepting tips in Dogecoin anywhere on Reddit without even having to download a wallet. And I think it has that really nice, that's what people are used to. People are used to clicking a like button, and I think we'll get to a point where instead of clicking a like button, you'll be tipping somebody with some tangible Dogecoin.
Right. Have you heard any really negative stories come from Doge that kind of made you cringe? Like I know I heard we talked to a woman that put her entire life savings in Dogecoin.
Oh, right. Okay, I haven't heard that one.
That could turn out to be a really good story, because I know people that did that with Bitcoin in 2010, and people really made fun of them.
Yeah.
And now they.
Well, look, I really don't see Dogecoin as an investment opportunity, and for that matter, I don't see any cryptocurrency as an investment opportunity. I think that's the wrong angle to come into any currency, because what's going to make a cryptocurrency win and gain mainstream traction and adoption is use, active use.
Right.
Without that, without the bulk of people in a community accepting and placing a standalone store of value on an object, be it Bitcoin, Dogecoin, whatever, then it's not going to take off. So you need merchants to accept it, and you need people to want to spend it.
Exactly, and that's how I see this. I see it as a payments platform and as a store of value second.
Exactly, absolutely. And I think, and this is something that I mentioned on the panel today, is that I think the viability of any of these currencies we're talking about shouldn't be pegged to what you can cash out to US dollars or fiat currency in. So with that in mind, it's not an investment opportunity. A lot of people are unfortunately marketing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as an investment, a get rich quick scheme.
Right.
And I think you're really underselling it, because Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology behind that is fundamentally going to change the way that the world and economies work.
Well, more than that. I mean, you can do more than just money. Even if you eliminated money from the equation with the blockchain.
Oh yeah, blockchain
it's
technology,
an amazing technology.
Distributed DNS.
Right.
We can change the whole way the internet works in a decentralized. What the blockchain does is it brings, scalable decentralization, which is something we didn't have until Bitcoin came along.
Right.
And so if you're just going out and saying, oh yeah, if you buy $100 of Bitcoin, you might get rich next month, you're severely underselling one of the greatest technological achievements of our generation. So I think people need to think of it that way.
No, I agree.
We're changing the world. Yeah.
Very cool. So this is pretty awesome what you've done with NASCAR. Could you kind of break that down a little bit for me?
Yeah, so this great driver qualified recently to be in NASCAR in May, but didn't have a sponsorship team, so nobody was sponsoring him. So the Dogecoin community came together and raised the equivalent of $50,000 US in Dogecoin, which we've now donated to him and his team. And we're actually going to have a Doge car at Talladega in May for NASCAR. So make sure you turn on the TV and watch.
To the south.
Yeah.
It's not quite to the moon yet.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're speeding up.
Very cool. So what's your impression so far of CoinSummit? This has been a great event.
Oh no, I've loved it. It's actually my first cryptocurrency conference that I've been to, and the panel today was great. I think it was good that altcoins got some exposure, and we started talking about how we shouldn't be so afraid of having multiple blockchains. So it's really good. For me, it's the first time meeting a lot of the people that are big names in the cryptocurrency sphere. So yeah, it's been a fantastic conference, and I think we as a community need to do this a lot more often.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jackson.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.